This is my first YouTube video, and I'm going to put in a block heater into a DK50SE Kioti tractor. It's a 50 horsepower hydrostatic tractor, and I thoroughly enjoy it. It only has about 33 hours on it, but I'm a do-it-yourselfer and I enjoy doing things like this. So bear with me. The things I do may not be the way you would do it, but it's just to give you an idea on how simple it is, or it can be done. Thank you. Okay, first thing you do is pop the hood. Then this side panel comes off fairly easy with the rubber latch here and a rubber latch at the back. Set that to the side. Then you'll see the freeze plug we'll be knocking out will be the first one closest to the alternator. There's two that you can access, but this is the one that the Kioti dealership recommended. Here's the tools that I recommended. This is the block heater. It is a Bobcat instrument. I believe the same engine's made for Bobcat that's on this particular tractor. This is what came in the box. This, the sleeve, and some instructions. The tough thing to get would be, they call for Loctite 609, which Loctite was bought out by Permatex. This is Napa's version of the Loctite 609. If you look for Permatex, it's going to be 64,000 or 6440. It's just a smaller tube. 64040. 64040 is the smaller tube. This right here is the 64,000. But obviously the part number is different because it's been renumbered for Napa. There's two ways of doing the freeze plug. The way I intend to do it is knock it out with a punch, then pull it out with some pliers. Or you can drill it out, put a screw in there. Once the screw's in there, then you can pry it out with a claw hammer. There's some upsides and downsides to each one. It just depends on if you have access or area. But these are pretty much the only tools you'll need. And the vice grips there is what I'm going to use just to clamp down on the radiator hose to prevent additional loss. Okay, I'm just going to use these clamps here to clamp down this hose. This is not going to prevent everything from leaking out, but it'll slow it down. And again, this won't be an issue if you were just going to change everything to include the radiator fluid, which I just want to save some of it because the tractor only has 33 hours on it. Okay, what you want to do is line this sharpened punch. I did sharpen the punch. You're just going to get it to the side and tap on it. Definitely some antifreeze in there. I have a bucket to catch it all. Okay, what I want to do is just take a pair of pliers of any kind, as long as they can reach in there. I'm going to try to pull this out. Had to get a different pair of pliers. Just got some thicker needle nose. And it pulled right out. Optimally, I did not want to punch it in there, but it did go in. Make sure you don't hit that punch too much, because if you crack this right here, or you punch into that, that's the cylinder wall. You don't want that to happen, but so there it is. Now for the install. I just take a rag and dry here. Might need to let that drain a little bit more. Okay, after letting it drain for a while, I'm now going to apply the compound to this. As well as right here. It's kind of just like oil. Alright, I'm then going to take this and set it in here with using a 24mm socket. I'm going to tap this thing in until it is flush. Put an extension on here. Till it sounds solid. Again, this is the first time I've ever done this on a tractor. I have installed these on cars, but they're just different. They usually do not have this sleeve attached to it. So, this stuff says it sets up in about an hour, but it's cure in 24. So, I'm going to leave it for 24 hours, then come back and I'll show you the rest. Okay, we're back. It's been 24 hours since I put the sleeve in. Everything looks good right now. A couple things I'd like to cover is when I was talking about drilling lessons learned is with this particular block, by knocking this in, there's no way the plug's going to drop down. That'd be my main concern about on a car block. But what I was talking about with this plug, if it was in there, you could drill it out with the coolant in there, and most of the coolant will keep the filings on the outside. There may be a little, but with it leaking out, you could then put a screw into the plug just like that, a little ways. Then you could just take a claw hammer or a pry bar, put it in there, and it'll pop out. And I've done it that way also, but you know, again, whatever works best for you. This is a suggestion. If you got a better way of doing it, I'm good with that. So now we have the plug. What you want to do is disconnect the plug and then put Teflon tape around the threads of this plug, going the opposite, or you know, just so that when you screw it in there, it doesn't unravel. Usually this is the way I do it here, because that's the way the threads are going to go into the sleeve. As far as how much, it's, you know, your guess. As long as it's not leaking, that's what I would suggest. Okay, once you have the Teflon tape on, you want to take this, screw it in there. This is going to require an 1 1/8" socket, or if you can get a crescent wrench in on this, that's your, see if you can. So I'm going to need an extension. Okay, now I have the extension. This just slides over. It doesn't have to be killer tight. I just want it parallel so that the cord hangs good. Alright, you then just take the cord just like this and it plugs back in and you're good to go. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and zip tie this down here so that just in case it comes loose, I don't lose it. That's about it. But you know, you want to check this to make sure it's not leaking once you put the antifreeze back in and get it running. So now all I have to do is top it back off with coolant and then run it and check it for leaks. Okay, we got it installed. We got the zip tie on, and now I'm just going to fill up the antifreeze and put the cover on. Alright, there's no leaking. This thing's been running for about 20 minutes and it's at normal operating temperature. No leaks whatsoever. Yeah, sorry, it's raining pretty heavily right now. I live in the northeast corner of South Dakota, and it gets pretty frosty up this way. So this block heater, it tends to be a necessity because it's nice to jump into a tractor, start it up, and the cab or the heat's ready and warm. So all I'm going to do now is seal this thing back up. By the way, this is a really great tractor. I'm very pleased with it. I used to own a New Holland TC40, but it didn't have a cab. So when I came across this, it was an outstanding tractor for the money. Again, it's a 50 horse HST. Hopefully this was helpful to you. This right here is the only tools that I used. I used these right here to pinch off the heater hose to the cab, and this one to the main lower radiator hose. This is what I used to punch. There's the hammer I used. This is what I used to pull the freeze plug out. This is just used for the zip tie. This right here was used to tap the sleeve in, and this was put on the sleeve. That's the sleeve retainer liquid, I guess. And then I just used Teflon tape around it, and this 1 1/8" socket is what I used to tighten it up with. And that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully it was helpful to you. This is my first video. Bye.